Greetings and welcome to our very first video prayer update. This idea was given to us by a gentleman in one of our supporting churches, and we thought it was a great idea, wanted to try it, and so we hope it'll work and trust it'll be a blessing to you. Let's talk reverse culture shock for a minute. In Korea, over the last 6 years, as we've lived there, we have become increasingly Korean. We have acclimated to that culture more and more. And so now when we come back to the States on furlough, it is a bit of a shock to the system as we readjust to doing life and ministry here and living in the culture here. One example of that is wearing shoes in the house. In Korea, we never wear our shoes in the house. That's a big no-no, and so we take them off before we go in. Here in America, though, many people wear their shoes in the house, and that still feels very weird to us. We've been back here for some time now, and it just still feels really weird to have shoes on in the house. Another interesting cultural difference is driving. The Korean traffic laws are more suggestive, and so there is greater flexibility in Korea getting from point A to point B and parking and other things than there is here in the States. Now, to be clear, we do obey all traffic laws, and we have not gotten any tickets while on furlough. But just a little example there of what we experience as we come back to the States for furlough. Now, we've been back on furlough for about 2.5 months now, and reverse culture shock notwithstanding, it has been a very wonderfully blessed time by the grace of God. Over the last 2.5 months, we have been able to spend a lot of quality family time. Many of our churches are in close proximity to family, so in April and May, we were able to spend some wonderful time with Rachel's extended family in California while visiting churches there, and spend some quality time with my family in North Carolina while visiting our churches in that area. This month, the month of June, we are in New England visiting churches and able to spend a lot of quality time with Rachel's family in Connecticut. The kids are eating up grandparent time, of course, and the grandparents are enjoying spoiling the grandkids, which of course is their prerogative, and a wonderful perk of being back home. It has been just so wonderful to see grandparents and parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and reconnect and enjoy all that goes into that wonderful family dynamic that we so much enjoy. We praise God and are very truly blessed to have Christian family that stands behind us and encourages us and is very supportive in the work that God has called us to do in Korea. Now, back in April, Rachel and I celebrated 13 years of marriage, and I am so thankful and blessed and proud to call her my wife, and I could not ask for a better woman to do life and ministry with. Of course, as you know, our entire life as a couple has been wrapped around Korean missions. We met there. Our oldest son was born there. We spent time church planting, came back to raise support, went back. Our last daughter was born there. So our whole life has been wrapped up in Korean ministry, and I wouldn't have it any other way. God has been so good to give me a godly, wonderful wife and 4 wonderful children to love and serve Him and to minister together with them is my greatest privilege. Now, speaking of the kids, they're doing well. They do miss home, and from time to time they tell us that they miss home and are eager to get back to Korea. But they are enjoying furlough and joyfully submitting to the will of God for our life at this time. They're eating up the family time, enjoying time playing with the cousins and grandparents and all of that. And they're also enjoying the neat things that God has enabled us to do. For example, this past weekend we were in New York at a church near Buffalo, so we took a day and we went up to Niagara Falls and got to show them that, spend the day as a family there enjoying God's creation. While we were there, one of the boys said, "That's good, I can mark Canada off my list. I've been to Korea, Japan, Canada, and America." I think his bucket list is to visit every country in the world, so it's a good thing that he's getting started very early in life. Another wonderful blessing that we've recently received is seeing how God is working and using this time in our children's lives. Recently I was having a conversation with one of our sons, and I asked him about how he thought God would use him in the future and how he would serve God in the future. He answered, and his answer was so wonderfully revealing. It showed that he had been really thinking deeply about it and had some great ideas about how he wanted to serve God with his life and was very open to whatever God would have him to do in the future. We also talked about our ministry in Korea, and he had some very wonderful ideas of different ministries that we could start and different ways that we could reach out back home in Korea during our second term. And that was just such a blessing. it's really encouraging as a parent when God pulls the curtain back and shows you a little bit of what He's doing in their heart as He leads and guides them. So our family's doing very well, and we are enjoying furlough at this time. Now, over 200 years ago, missionary pioneer William Carey said, "I will go if you hold the ropes." And what he meant by that was, he said, "I will go and extend the church's mission and ministry to other country if you will stay and pray and financially support and in that way hold the ropes for me as I go." That's a wonderful analogy and word picture of missions. And so to carry that analogy a little further, furlough is the time where the two people on the opposite sides of that rope come together and get reacquainted and rejoice together in the good hand of God and all that He is doing. That has truly been our blessed experience over the last 2.5 months as we have visited churches all in different parts of the country. We've been to California, New York, North Carolina, and Virginia, and we've been reminded that God's work is teamwork. It's been wonderful as we've visited these churches and shook hands and hugged and seen people face to face, people that have faithfully supported us and prayed for us and been really connected with our ministry over the past 6+ years. As we walked into a number of our churches, people there could greet our children by name, which of course our kids having Korean names is no small feat. And I cannot fully express to you how much of a blessing and how full our heart is after having visited you folks and having experienced your love and faithfulness in that way. Our hearts are refreshed, and we thank you so much for your great care and love for us. Another joy of furlough is seeing what God is doing in and through you in your local area. As we have come back and visited some of our churches, it has been great to see you as you are in the area where God has placed you, reaching the lost and dying around you as we extend your ministry into Korea. So it's been great to visit and to see what God is doing here and testify of what God is doing there in Korea. To those of you that we have visited, we say thank you. You have truly helped us on our way after a godly sort and been a huge blessing to us. To those of you that we have not visited yet, we eagerly anticipate seeing you folks and having the same blessed encounters and seeing what God is doing in and through you and testifying of what God has done in and through us in Korea. As we conclude, let me leave you with just a few prayer requests to remember if you would. Please pray for our schedule. As we travel, pray that God would give us wisdom to stay healthy and to make wise choices on the road. Please pray for our support. We are currently at 90% of our support, and we have several new churches on the schedule that we'll be visiting this time. We are praying that God will increase our support back to 100% before we go back to the field, Lord willing, the end of November. So please pray for that. Please also pray for homeschooling. It's going well, but being in different homes and different dynamics, traveling, please pray that we'd have wisdom to get everything done that we need to get done there. Please also pray for our church back home. Very encouraging things that we're hearing, reports that we're hearing. One brother, Brother Enoch is his English name, he came to our church for the first time the last Sunday we were there. But since we've been gone, he's been coming very faithfully, gotten plugged in, and become a very good key part of the work there. And so we're excited to see that God is moving the church forward. So please continue to pray for our work back home. Pray that God would continue to guide and protect and bless. We love you all. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great day.